Hello, this is Greg Allison from Green Greg's Garden and Worm Farm, coming to you from a swamp in North Alabama. Greg, is no water there? Well, this is actually a wet weather swamp. This swamp is typically wet all but maybe 3 or 4 months of the year. But, so since it's the dry time, I decided to stand it. That don't mean there's not mosquitoes here. So, what I'm going to talk about today is how to not be ate alive, survive, thrive, and stay out of the hive. That is very important because there are plenty of insects here in North Alabama and all over the world that will just flat eat you up. We're talking about mosquitoes, we're talking about chiggers, we're talking about ticks, we're talking about the little things called noseeums. How do you keep those things from eating you alive? Now, if you are, say, driving out and your car breaks down, you have a car crash out in the middle of the woods somewhere, you're on a plane. There was a story of a girl that crashed in the Amazon, survived 11 days. And she came out with the worst thing being that she was ate up by bugs real bad. She had a little gash. Everybody else on the plane died, but the insects almost did her in. And they can. I lived in Alaska 2 years. There were more mosquitoes up there than any place I've ever seen. I mean, I'd walk outside the woods like this time of the year, and if you were to look down, your body would be black. And it wouldn't be the color of your clothes, it would be the mosquitoes. They'd just totally cover you. I mean, you had to wear a bee suit to go out in the woods, practically in Alaska. And that's the first lesson, how to dress. Well, don't dress like I dress here. I mean, gee whiz. Mosquitoes here don't like me too well. In fact, I usually like to bring somebody that like to eat more than me along with me sometimes. So that's one way to stay alive. How do you keep from getting ate by the bear? You trip the guy next to you, you make sure you're not the slowest runner or something like that. Well, that kind of sort of works, but that's a terrible example. But we have to have some fun, some humor. Seriously, you need to wear clothing that buttons up your collar. When I was in Alaska, I had to turn the collars up and I had to have hats I'd pull down. I really wanted a bee net on my face. It was terrible. And typically, and if you're going to go out in the woods, even here in Alabama, it's hot. That's one of the reasons I'm not wearing a long sleeve shirt and got it unbuttoned. It's hot. And like I said, the mosquitoes aren't eating on me as bad. Now, there's times of the day that I will dress different or take other precautions. For example, you should wear long sleeve shirts. Really should. And more importantly, and I do this, I don't come out here in shorts on, I do come out here wearing overalls that are long-legged. Now, those long legs protect me from getting my legs ate up, and that's where they'd really hit me, especially the ticks and the chiggers. Because you get chiggers by walking through grass and weeds where the chiggers are at. Chiggers burrow into your skin. Chiggers are diggers. They dig into you. Now, really, you should wear boots, hiking boots. You should have you should blouse the legs of your boots into your, or legs of your pants into your boots. That's the best thing to do to keep your legs from getting ate up. These are really long legs, they're loose, and that's good if a snake tries to bite because they usually strike shallow. So it might help you from snake bites too, to remember to wear leggings that are loose and fluffy. Or you might even want to wear something that's really substantial. But that's going to be a really hot proposition, especially in the summertime. So the way you protect yourself in the summertime and in the wintertime are different. So in the summertime, you've really got to pay more attention in your bug out bags, your get home bags, or whatever provisions you have with you against the insects. And clothing really is your first line and best defense. A second line of defense for when you're in the woods, if you don't have any chemical spray on you or anything like that, which most people don't pack, and it's not going to last long if you do pack it. But back in the old days, they would often use mud. They would cake their arms with mud and then let it dry. A mosquito can't bite through the mud. It might bite through where it cracks. And yeah, that's not the most comfortable thing to do. But as an alternative getting slap up by mosquitoes, that's preferable to cake yourself in mud if you have to. If you do have insect propellant, in Alaska, insect propellant told the mosquitoes where you were. There's a person here. Attack. It didn't do any good. Maybe the newer stuff with DEET works. I was there in the 80s, early 80s, so it didn't work for me up there. But spray that stuff on your clothing, not directly on your skin. It'll last longer on your clothing. It won't irritate your skin. You're not poisoning yourself that way. And that's a good first line of defense against mosquitoes, as long as it lasts. However, after the lasting stops, there's you might research other natural ways to do that. This is a plant called beautyberry. It's kind of returning to my wild edibles. And actually the berry will be edible when it's ripe. That berry will be blue. Now I will do probably another session on beautyberries when these berries are blue. They're very pretty. This is actually growing out on my old blacksmith forges. And I burned it and tried to wipe it out and tried to kill it until I discovered what it was. The thing about beautyberry though is if I plant these, and I'm thinking about it, but they tend to take over. They're a very invasive bush. They make nice pretty berries. They are edible. They're kind of a sky pale blue. They're largely tasteless. And speaking of mosquitoes, I've had one just coming after my arm, but I felt it flying around, so I might start attracting them now. The other thing to avoid mosquitoes is staying still. If you want mosquitoes to fog you, just stay still in one spot and sooner or later they'll come to you. Another thing about mosquitoes is they like it when it's real early in the morning or late in the afternoon. They're a lot more likely to invade you at that times. Now you do have to sleep every now and then. You can't be moving all the time now, can you? And sometimes you just got to sit down and work on a task. And when you do that, they're going to get you. But otherwise, if you're moving, you're a lot safer. Much safer when you're on the move. Now if I stand here for a little bit, they'll come after me again. And I will re-garnish my beautiful overalls with this beautyberry. So the other things you got to worry about is ticks and the noseeums. The noseeums, they seem like they sting you. They're tiny little insects, and they got some of the worst bites you can imagine. It's like a little sting. And I kept wondering, where in the world is this coming from? I never even heard of noseeums until they heard of me. And yeah, they're real bad down in Florida in some places and other areas. They were kind of new to me, but I discovered them one year in my garden. And when I really got to studying them, they lived under the leaves of the plants. That's why I found them. And they were real tiny little insects. And then they would come flying out from under that leaf on some kind of anger and just pop you and sting you. I don't know what or why. I didn't see any nest. So it's not like bees. So I'm not so understanding of noseeums and what their motivations are, why they want to bite you or sting you or whatever it is they do. And there may be more than one form of noseeums, because there's a lot of little insects out there in the world. But the ones I discovered were really good at biting you. So chiggers, again I said chiggers are mostly in grass and weeds. I'm walking through a portion of woods that's not too populated with weeds. You do see some of my edible greenbrier here. I want to check my video, Eat Your Briars. That'll have you some good information. But so just getting back to it, the other insects you got to worry about are ticks. And again, wearing clothing does help you against ticks. If you're wearing an elastic waistband or anything that they can get under or through, they'll come in and get you. If you got loose clothing, if you're not wearing long-legged pants, yeah, watch out. They like to be in the grass and weeds, much like our friends, the chiggers. And here's a nice weedy spot I'm going to show you, right next to a compost bin of mine. It could be a really good location for our good friends, the ticks and the chiggers. So if I was going to walk through here, I'd definitely try to pick the area of least plants. And it wouldn't be a bad idea to have a bush knife or a stick or something to knock those plants down as much as you can when you walk through them to keep yourself from getting ate up. So those are all key things, all secrets to avoid getting ate up by mosquitoes, noseeums, chiggers, ticks. Final advice, eat lots of garlic and onions. Bloodsuckers, just like the vampire theories of old, really don't seem to care much for garlic. If it only worked for people, right? But seriously, well, yeah, it does work for some people. Eating garlic does keep some away. So maybe that does have its advantages. So garlic is very, very helpful, especially when you crush it up first real good and let it get oxidated, because that builds up the allicin, which is one of the most medicinal, healthful ingredients in garlic. And I'll be doing videos soon about planting garlic, because I'm planning to grow a lot of garlic over this winter season. Yeah, I plant it in the fall, and it'll be ready early in the spring. And I think I'm going to interplant it with my turmeric. So I'm going to have a very medicinally themed garden in the future for the market garden side. But in any event, so to see those kind of videos and much more, wild edibles, future videos on beauty berries and many other things, do subscribe to my channel. Click the upduck notification button to get the updates, and share this with your friends, because knowing how to avoid mosquitoes, I bet you didn't know about the mud, I bet you didn't know about beauty berries, and the importance of why you want to wear the long clothing, about spraying the sprays on your clothing. All these are key ingredients. Keep it moving. Share this video with your friends and Facebook and such, and please check my links below for prepper supplies. There's My Patriot Supply. They got lots of great deals. Go through there and check them. Right now the prices of food are cheap. Their prices are cheap. They're running sales, but prices are about to skyrocket. Check them out while the prices are still low, and while you can get things to be on the go. Go to also, hey, you need to plant your own garden, you need heirloom seeds. There's still stuff you can plant this fall. Save seeds for next spring. You may not be able to get them. Prices may go up. Check out True Leaf Market below, and grow your own garden and be able to make your own fertilizer from your own compost. And some people like to batch your compost over the fall and the winter, so they have a big pile in the spring. Buy worms. I sell worms. greengregs.com below. Links there. So thank you for watching.